Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It was the Chinese leader Mao, Chairman Mao, who said that religion is the opium of the people. I think this has come true in Africa. Religion has become the opium of the people to the point where they've stopped thinking altogether. And in Africa, the pastors and the politicians have preyed on these drunk individuals. Cannot think. The pastors have asked their followers to pay contributions to the church for various activities, making them even poorer than they are. And as for the church leaders, they've gone after their vote. The gentleman we see in the middle of the picture there is President Emerson Mnangagwa in one of the apostolic church regalias. He is going after the votes of these church followers, and he has managed to capture these votes. Then we're talking of opium here.
Good day to everybody. I must agree, and it's with sadness that I would ask, how did we get to, to this point, this exact point? I mean, you're seeing, churches, they are springing up like wildfires in Zimbabwe with so many so-called prophets, doing so many, supposed miracles and so forth, and it doesn't stop there. It's the politicians have now started working in cahoots with the so-called prophets, pastors, and helpers, or whatever they call themselves, to sway people in their direction for votes. In the end, you can see clearly, the ordinary person has become the pawn in all this. Free will has been taken away from him, right before his eyes. I'll give you an example of how foolishness works. Foolishness is when a prophet tells you that, I've seen everybody buying, houses here. And to solidify that you guys are going to buy houses, I am selling bricks. Each brick should be the cornerstone of your house, and the brick will cost $10 or $20. And people will go in numbers to buy a brick worth $10. Yet one brick, any ordinary brick, costs 50 cents. And the majority of the people that are buying these bricks, they don't even have stands. So how are you going to build? How are you going to, there's so many, it just becomes foolishness. It's now a money-making scheme for the prophets. And then now you have these, politicians. They go, they talk to their prophets, and when the prophets agree to whatever terms, I suppose there's money obviously involved, or there's some form of exchange. The prophet will go there and tell his followers that, every one of us is going to vote for so and so. I mean, not only have you lost your money, you are now giving away your rights. You've just sold away your rights, you know, of choice. It's how did we get here?
I totally agree. I think that we keep arguing on the same point over and over again. This issue of free, fair, and credible elections is at the heart of our uh, nation as a failed state. And the sort of religious zeal that has been shown by these followers in accepting their church leaders when they are being shortchanged has been shown by the same people in following some of these politicians. And of course, the nation at large. I have found it really difficult to believe that so many people, millions in fact, believed Chamisa's lie when he said he was going to, he had plugged the vote rigging loopholes and persuaded them to participate in these flawed elections. The same argument has been said over and over again. Surely, you have not plugged all the vote rigging loopholes. We have got an election process that is so flawed. You have not plugged any, and yet people believed him. Just now, on one of the WhatsApp group, I was having a discussion with somebody who was saying, well, not participating in these elections was out of the question because Monzora, Maduku, and others would have participated. Now, if you have spent all this time, you think you have reached a point where you have persuaded somebody to understand that it was flawed to participate in a flawed process, which even SADC and the AU have condemned as flawed. And you yourself believe it is. But for you to turn around and say, but I still have to participate because if I don't, Monzora will participate and get the few Gravitrans seats. So you are undermining SADC opportunity to have declared those elections null and void and deny ZANU-PF legitimacy by participating in your millions just to stop Monzora getting the Gravitrans seats. How anyone can see that as a rational argument beggars belief. Yes, Mao Zedong said religion is the opium of the people, but ignorance seems to be an even stronger drug because ignorance is really a serious problem in Zimbabwe. I find it very difficult to see how we get out of this mess.
Our main problem is not that we don't know. I mean, the science, the evidence is all there. Anybody can see. When Chamisa stood up and said, I've got this covered, there's no way ZANU-PF is going to steal this election. Let's face it, there was no verified voters roll when he said that. The delimitation exercise was a shamble. That's enough evidence. There was fuzz going around, pushing people all over in the rural areas, forcing people to attend. Everybody could see it. I mean, now, you cannot say you didn't see it. You got the internet now. You got so many channels that are sharing so much information. There is no way you can prophesy to say, to profess to say that it's ignorance. They didn't know better. People did know, but the problem that we face in Zimbabwe is the level of brainwashing that has happened, the level of, the way they follow the leaders, be it in the churches, be it in political parties, no questions asked. We will just follow no matter what. This is the position, that we are in. And, once you've done that, it becomes almost impossible, for you to think for yourself. This is the position that we are in. Despite all the evidence, they will follow what either, Mnangagwa says, or what, Chamisa says, or what their prophets say. Despite, I mean, the scandals all over. Right now, we have all these, tender scandals that are happening. We have the gold mafia, we have the Chivayos, we have everything, right? We have the scandals that are happening within, the Triple C. We have scandals that are happening within even the church itself. These prophets are being caught, in adulterous acts and all that. But people will not look at it. That is not ignorance. That is foolishness. If you didn't know and you didn't hear about it, I would have said a lot of people know and they comment on this, and tomorrow they forget this is exactly what happened, and they will gladly march and follow on. So you are right to say, when you have now, a, a, a group of people that actually know, the facts, the evidence, the history that about something, and they choose to be, to ignore it, we have a serious problem. I think that makes our position as Zimbabwe very, very, very difficult to fix, like you said, and it spills over. It becomes difficult for SADC to fix. Here I am as SADC, I'm telling you, the whole process you guys just did is flawed. There's no transparency. Everybody agrees. 2 days later, here you are, the same person that was crying to say, this whole election was a shambol, or was shambolic. Here you are the one that is being sworn in. I mean, how do I help you? How do I help you? You have to help yourself so that I help you. Or do nothing, then I help you. So it just drains those that want to help. This is the situation. It just drains those that want to help you, because you are refusing help at every corner. I think that makes Zimbabwe's case even more difficult to solve as an outsider or as a neutral.
Well, my concluding remark would be that I think what we are facing here is a situation where Zimbabwe is going into the 2028 elections. At the present moment, there is no chance that ZANU-PF will implement any meaningful democratic reforms. And Chamisa and company will no doubt regroup and come back and tell the people that this time they are going to win those elections because they've got strategies of winning rigged elections. Like I said, you have got to be absolutely punch drunk to believe the lies, those lies again. This is not the first time. Last year was not the first time the people believed those lies. They believed the same lies in 2018 when Chamisa said MDC Alliance had stringent measures to stop ZANU-PF rigging the elections. What I find disappointing now is the number of people who even now refuse to accept that Chamisa lied about plugging these vote-rigging loopholes. So those people are almost certain going to participate in 2028. There is nothing that one can do about that. How can you reason with somebody who doesn't want to reason, who is so punch drunk with their ignorance? Their brains have ossified into fat. It's now impermeable to reason. I believe SADC will find it very difficult to do anything else other than to come up with a similar report condemning the election process. But what else can they do? They're not going to deny ZANU-PF legitimacy if millions of Zimbabweans participate in flawed elections. That, I think, is the truth that we have got to face and that we have got to fight. As much as it is a lost cause in the sense that it is very hard to reason with somebody who doesn't want to reason. It really is difficult, but nonetheless, we have to fight it. And I don't know. But to be quite honest, at the present moment, the opium of ignorance is just, some people are addicted to it. There's no changing it. Can give you closing remarks there, Ben, and then we'll close.
So in closing, I would say, the situation in Zimbabwe, unless we take back our free will, our ability to think for ourselves, we are going to be stuck in this dictatorship for a very, very long time. ZANU-PF and their kids would be there to have this same stronghold even on our children. But there's hope, I must say there is hope. There are people out there that are showing that, they're coming out of, this here stronghold. I mean, you see in comment sections on social media, there are people now that are starting to ask questions. And by asking questions, it's your right to know, because somebody wants, your vote, which is very sacred. So they have to give you a good explanation to why things happen this way or that way. At the end of the day, you are more important to the politician and not the other way around. The politician needs you. That's how democracy works. And then, you shouldn't be told on no certain terms should you ask. If you ask, you're labeled as, if you are, ZANU-PF, if you'll be a puppet of the West. if you are triple C, you are Faz, you are Rakash. Just because you asked a question. No, 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 no. It's better to be labeled that than to keep quiet and perpetuate your own suffering. So unless we get back that, our right to say yes or no, or to ask for accountability, we will be stuck in this here place for a very, very long time. So that is what I would urge my fellow Zimbabweans to say, we have a chance to get ourselves out of this mess. We have a good chance to get ourselves out of this mess. And it starts by us, the citizens, by asking for accountability, not being sold short, and thinking for ourselves. That's what I would say in conclusion.
Thank you very much, Ben, and thank you very much those who were able to join us today. And hope we'll meet tomorrow again for another discussion.